Okay, so we are back. And so this is a thread that originally started this whole trend of fat girl threads on R9K, or at least I believe this is the one. This is the first one that I saw. There have been like quite a few more since then, but this is when I first started noticing it. So the OP said, "You really want this life, incel?" And I guess he was trying to say, because for a lot of guys who would be considered incels, you might have to settle. You know, a lot of times people would say, lower your standards, settle for less and all that. And really, like I've always said, when people tell men to lower their standards, they really mean fuck fat bitches. I don't care what nobody say. That's all it means. Fuck fat bitches. Because any girl of healthy weight is going to be of significant value in today's dating market, unless she's deformed or like 80 years old. So the next post says, "You really oh no, okay, it's replying, and it says, it's not what you think." I had to censor this too, by the way, because it's a little sexual. And this guy says, "I'd rather kill myself than fuck a bitch that fat. I'm not an incel though, so I guess I'm allowed to have standard." You know, I hate that mentality though. Like, I'm allowed to have like I'm just like, guys gotta stop with that shit. Like, stop buying into like these paradigms that other people are trying to project onto you. Like this whole like I gotta look a certain way to have standards or whatever. Like, you could be the ugliest motherfucker on the planet and have standards. I think the thing about standards is that it's more about your desperation level. It's like, if you look at someone like myself, I don't need a girlfriend. I don't need a relationship. I don't need sex. So I can sit here and say, I'm only going to lose my virginity to a 10. Now, look, it might never happen, but it's not like I'm going to suffer or there's going to be a consequence if I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So I think standards is all about, like, your standards can be as high as you want them to be, as long as you can deal with not getting what you want. But if you're really desperate to the point where if you don't get it, your happiness is going to be affected, that's when it would make sense. But guys got to stop thinking like that. Only in America are women that fat. I think we do have some of the highest obesity rates in the world. I got to look at the stats again, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. And then this guy says, "This is funny as shit. With that being said, if you're a virgin, you should definitely fuck a fat chick. Will bring up your confidence and more than likely lead to fucking other hotter women." I disagree, but you guys know I'm different. You guys know I don't give a fuck about being a virgin. So, and I think a lot of that mentality just comes from the idea that being a virgin is bad. People always look at being a virgin as a bad thing. I never looked at it like that, and so that's why I was never willing to lower myself to having sex with somebody I'm not really attracted to. And because the funny thing is, I've had opportunity, like the few opportunities I've had to have sex were probably with mostly like fat girls. Not that many, but there were like a handful. There were like maybe 2 or 3 times where I was like, I could, slam dunk, slam dunk opportunity. But I don't like that whole dynamic of using somebody to raise your confidence. Like, one, you're having sex with somebody you're not attracted to, so it could be a very disgusting experience, as we're going to see as we get a little bit deeper into the thread from the guys who have taken that route. But also, I just feel like it's kind of, I don't know if mean is the right word, but it's like you're really using somebody. Because you don't like them, you don't want to be with them, you're using them as a confidence boost. Even if a woman is fat, she's still a human being. And I think to deal with somebody based on that, like, oh, I'm using you as a confidence booster so I can level up to better women, I just think like that's kind of an evil dynamic. Not evil, but it's kind of a mean-spirited dynamic to have with somebody that you're going to be having sex with. But I can see why in practice it could work for oh God, it's hard to imagine, but I can see how it could give you a somewhat confidence boost. Like, now you know what sex is, and so you might feel a little bit more comfortable with, but hell no. So this guy says, Cake, this is exactly how I lost my virginity at 22. Holy shit. The BMI differential, the hippie thing on the wall, the lighting. She didn't have a cat, but still. Anyway, this is honestly a good point. I recoil at seeing this because ugly fat bitches are so repulsive, and I imagine it's so much better with a cute skinny girl, but is it really? After 10 years of fucking her, must get old, no? That is what people say, isn't it? And then he replies to this other guy. He says, personally, it just made me not want to die so much anymore. I was really considering suicide if I didn't get any pussy, LMAO. Still kind of lost and miserable, but at least I had sex once. Only had sex one more time since then. She was a skinny teenager, 18, with big tits. It was so much better, even despite the fact that it was in a public restroom and she was black. What also made it better was the fact that she was horny as fuck. She wanted to be fucked so bad, I barely had to do anything, and she was taking out. Okay, I got you. But here we have a guy who took that route, and he kind of attests to how disgusting it was. Fat, ugly bitches are repulsive. But look at what he says here. Personally, it just made me not want to die so much anymore. I was really considering suicide if I didn't get any pussy. And this is how some guys really, some guys are just super desperate to lose their virginity. Like, when I read stuff like this, it's just crazy to me because I can't relate to it at all. You guys know my whole story, but going back to when I was 14, I stopped giving a fuck about being a virgin and what people thought about me being a virgin. And so I never got caught up in looking at things from this perspective. Once I hit that I don't give a fuck about being a virgin stride, there was no way I was going to settle for a fat bitch. There was no way, because for what? And so this guy says, it is ironic fat girls get a lot of sex. Guys are just less nervous around them and think they can get it. If they only acted that way around the one they like, the things may be different. When a fat girl grunts, that's when you when you really reassess things. I think this is a good point too, though, because I got the perfect example. There's this black girl that works at Planet Fitness at the gym, and I'm gonna be just frank. She's kind of ugly. She's not fat, but she's skinny, but she's ugly. She looks like if you can imagine a 21-year-old grandmother. That's what she looks like. But it's so easy to talk to her. I love, every time I see her, I say, hey, I say bye, all that shit. We're cool. It's so easy to talk, but she just ugly, bro. But I noticed, though, that it is easier to talk to girls that you're not attracted to. Cause it's basically like talking to a dude. And so you are going to be less nervous around them. You can be more relaxed. I think I could be pretty good, too, around mid girls as well. I think my problem is more so breaking the ice. I think if I had a reason for talking to a pretty girl, I could be more relaxed. I think it's the ice breaking shit that really fucks with me, because I'm at the point now I don't really give a fuck. But I have noticed that it's really easy to talk to girls you're not attracted to. the fat girl grunt. So this guy says, see, although I cringe at the memory, I'm happy I dated a girl, would masturbate over the mic together. Then I found out she was a ham planet and a solid 2 out of 10. Damn. Quickly ghosted her after that and reevaluated my life real quick. Now I have a higher standard for myself and refuse to cut down from that. Even if that means I'm going to die alone. And see, that's me. Other than the dating fat chicks, I have a higher standard for myself and I refuse to cut down from that. Even if it means, some guys, I get it, every guy isn't going to be on that type of time, but that's really how I look at shit. To me, being a virgin is never that bad to where you need to have sex with somebody that is literally repulsive to you. And this guy replied to him, said, did you feel guilty? I always feel guilty rejecting girls for their looks. Hell, one time I felt bad about rejecting a tranny. And then same guy replied, no, far from it. I was more disgusted at myself for even doing it in the first place to feel guilt. But that 100% is because the chick was just fucking outright hideous. I couldn't guess what the outcome would have been if she was attractive. I cringe at the memory, but the experience itself helped me grow as a person, I'd say. But this is a guy who, he had a certain level of self-respect enough to be like, nah, I can't do that. And so this guy says, okay, bitches who would fuck incels ain't that fat. You can find a slightly chubby shy girl at any church or house league or even activist organizations. I fuck chubby bitches, but none of them are over 200 pounds. Heaviest I've been with was 190 and 5'10", which was just Pog status, not Super Saiyan BBW. I see what he's saying, but I think chubby girls kind of have an inflated value now because that whole thick thing is in. I know, like, when I went to the phone store, for instance, there was this girl was fat. She was fat. Like, I wouldn't even say chubby. She was fat. But for a fat bitch, and I will say for a fat bitch, she was fuckable. She was fuckable for a fat. I mean, fat in all the right place. Like, she had the fat ass, the fat thighs, the big titties. Now, of course, she had some guts, some of that turkey arm, and her face was like not completely distorted and bloated with lard. But like, she was like probably the most fuckable, like, legitimate fat chick I'd ever seen. But what I'm saying is that if I saw it, other men saw it. And see, this is the problem, is that for a incel tier guy or a mid tier, let's say me, I'm a mid tier guy, right? She's not gonna want to fuck with us because she's getting more attractive, taller, big dick thug. I guarantee you, she's getting attention from guys like that, because guys don't have as high standards as women. So when you're talking about these slightly chubby, shy girls, or even like the fat girls with the good fat distribution, bruh, attractive men are going to go for them because they're going to be easier, they're going to be freakier in the bed. And so I just feel like this isn't really this isn't the way out that people think it is. Not anymore. Maybe like in year 2000 or something like that, but chubby girls are definitely in right now because of the whole thick craze. And so this guy says, I met a fat Estonian bitch off Bumble. She's huge. Like, I mean, so huge. I only met her because she is always down to fuck every time I meet her to get over my dry spell. After I blow my load, I feel disgusted and immediately want to go home, and she always wants to go for multiple rounds. It's a shame because she has such a cute face and huge tits, sweet feminine voice, and amazing personality. If she lost the fat, she would be a literal 10 out of 10 goddess. So I'm keeping her around in the hopes of one day she gets slim, but I'm not banking too much on it or until I find a more attractive girl I can consistently hook up with. So this guy was like, he went ahead and, he grabbed a harpoon and went for a whale, but, he says that it's gross. And it's kind of unfortunate too, because like he said, she has a good personality, the feminine voice. Like, sometimes fat girls sometimes they have pluses to go with the big minus of being just fucking huge. And that can kind of lure you in a little bit if you're desperate. But just look at how this guy is. Like, nah, bro. Like, you can't go out like this. You can't. Like, this is just depressing. And it's kind of funny, bro, because I've been going to the gym and shit. I see guys in there, and you just know it's a skinny dude who's bringing his fat girl to the gym to get her in shape. And I've seen it at least 3 times where it was like you just know it's the fat girl with a skinny guy. You can tell he just trying to get this bitch. He just trying to build him a respectable girlfriend. I ain't gonna lie though, I saw this one dude who brought his girlfriend in, but she wasn't fat. She was like chubby, like the other guy was talking about, like the chubby with the fat ass. I was like, yo, like, I could work with that, right? Because she was kind of sexy for a chubby girl, and if he take her to the gym, he can get her tightened up a bit. Woo! Like, I could work with that, but not one of those. Not a big bitch. I couldn't. I would never commit myself to trying to get a big bitch to lose weight, like a big, huge, nah, bro. Cause it's hard enough. It's hard. Like, even when I get it. Like, I'm in good shape, but I've always struggled with like the diet aspect of it, and that's the biggest problem. I only managed to stay balanced and get fit because I love working out, but I eat like I've eaten like shit for most of my life. That part is hard. and just taking somebody to the gym 3 or 4 times a week for 30 minutes, that ain't gonna, nah, bro. Like, that's hard. That's some hard work. It's more about what they want and how hard they're willing to go than what you do. That's why I wouldn't do something like that. And so this guy says, I was with a fat Asian girl. Should have been a huge red flag, but she was really facially pretty. That happens sometimes. When that fat doesn't accumulate around the face, it's all about fat distribution. Now, there is a point where you're just too damn fat regardless of where it goes. But a lot of times, it's really where the fat is distributed. But back to the post. For a long time, and then she fucked my best friend and found out she was on Tinder, etc. Her self-esteem was so slow. Any attention she'd get, I'm assuming he's meant low, she'd take. Once I dumped her, she realized she'd gone fucked up. Went back on dating apps, had a strict not even hook up with a fat girl, broke some hearts. Now with a skinny Jap, and she's the most funny, cute, pretty girl I've ever had the pleasure of being with. This guy must be white. And she's confident and knows when to say no. Moral of the story, don't get with fat bitches. They would go with anything because their self-worth is so low, they'll take anything they can get. Lazy as fuck as well. Just saying, there's a direct correlation. Fuck a fat bitch, never get in a relationship with one. And that's something I've been thinking about too, because I told you guys in the beginning of the video that there's some sexy fat women out there. There's some, especially like when you like before fat, like when you talking about like chubby, pogs, thick girls and shit, those pear-shaped girls and shit. I like those types of girls. But one thing I've realized now that I've thought about it more is that we're really just thinking about the novelty of having sex with that type of girl. We're not looking at what it would be like to actually be in a relationship with them, because you're only going to be having sex here and there. Like, the whole relationship is just going to be you fucking her. Like, you got to eat with her. You got to be seen with her. You got to live with her. And you got to think, why is she chubby? Why is she fat? She probably is going to be eating a lot more than you. She's not going to want to be very active. You might be someone like me who goes to the gym and goes running, and then you guys are not going to be able to share that because she's not into that sort of thing. And that's just something that I've been thinking about more recently, because again, it's some cute chubby girls out there, but I think it's more so the novelty of what it would be like to fuck them, as opposed to the experience as a whole. That's why, thinking with my rational mind instead of my Kuma brain, I'm like, it would be better to have a girl that is into fitness, a girl that is, or at least is skinny enough to where she can be lazy and not just be a fat piece of shit as a result of it. And so this post says, I fucked a fat bitch once and I still regret it. Don't do it, bros. It's not worth it. And then this guy says, I'm not an incel and I do want that life. Mine is being skinny fat. I'm lifting not only for self-improvement, but to be able to handle a bigger woman as easily as a smaller one. I love fatties. And so here you have the type A and type B male, right? The guys that don't like fat bitches, whether they fucked them or have fucked them and know through experience that it's a terrible thing to do. And do you have some guys who really do like big girls? And I made a thread today actually asking this question because I was wondering this while I was preparing for this video. Because in this thread right here, there were some guys who were like, they were defenders of fatty fucking. And it made me wonder and think, dude, like, how many of these guys that claim to really like fat women, how many of them are just settling? Because it's hard for me to imagine that a guy would choose a fat, sloppy, moon-faced bitch over a fit, skinny, pretty girl, or even like, doesn't even have to be skinny, but like those curvy girls who just got a little bit of meat on their bones. You know what I'm saying? Like not skinny, not fat, not even chubby, but just like they just got that extra, they got some meat. Like, maybe I'll put a picture up as an example, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking. Like, it's hard to imagine that guys would really be like, nah, I want the fat sloppy bitch where I gotta lift her stomach up to get to her pussy. Like, Or when you look at it from behind and it's just like this discolorated mess. Oh nah, bruh. But again, that there are guys who have said, from what I've seen guys say that from the time they had their sexual awakening, they've been into fat bitches and married a fat woman and stuff like that. So again, I think there are definitely some men who are legitimate chubby chasers or fat women enthusiasts. But I also think that some of them are just settling. It's not, like, I would say over a half are settling. And so this guy says there's fatties and then there's chubbies. I'm actually attracted to the latter, but I can't. This is in the way. Okay, wait. How? Okay, I think I was more so looking at this one. How can you have sex with women you don't find attractive and enjoy it? Okay, and this guy says, because of my physical need to coom, masturbation feels like shit compared to even the fattest pussy, period. Sex is the ultimate blessing. Mentally, I get off on the idea of doing a manly thing, having intercourse with a woman. As many A9s posted here before, fat girls have really low self-esteem and many of them are straight up crazies. Great to do many sexual things with anal or ass to mouth, but you need to stay away mentally. These girls are single for a reason. It's not just their weight. It's nasty business, but filled with pure pleasure. This is why I can't fuck with chubby chasers, bro. Cause listen to this shit. It's nasty business, but filled with pure. Like this is the talk of a degenerate hedonistic madman. Once the horny high wears off, you kind of regret it, but soon you need more. As for feelings, I have none. Society, family, and life in general. This why I cannot fuck with these guys that like fat bitches, bro. Like this sums it up right here. The mind of a man that likes fat women. Oh man, but look, that's his point of view. That's his perspective. I can't say it's a universal thing though, because he would say masturbation feels like shit compared to even the fattest pussy. But look at all the guys who tried to fuck fat women and regretted it and would rather die alone, or, you know, were just absolutely repulsed and disgusted by the experience. So I just think it has more to do with just your mental makeup, almost like just being gay, right? Like some guys just like a straight guy would never understand what a gay guy sees in a man. It's just one of those things. And I feel like when it comes to guys who like fat women and the guys who don't, it's almost like that. It's almost like that same kind of separation or divide, right? Maybe there's some middle ground. Like we can kind of agree on like chubby thick girls, right? And as far as like the gay comparison, like chubby thick girls will be like the tranny, right? Right? Like I can't fuck a dude, but maybe a tranny. I can't fuck a fat sloppy moon face bitch, but maybe a chubby. But I think it's that kind of serious divide though. Like it's really like you almost have to be just mentally built for fucking fat bitches. And so this guy says, I've fucked women close to this before. The images do capture the feeling quite well. Made me wish at the time I had just cut my dick off and had avoided sexual desire like a monk. And then this guy replies, I always end up feeling this way too. If I can't have real love, I think I would just prefer to be a monk. And if forced to have sex, I guess I just chop my dick off. So we've seen the bright side of fucking fatties, I guess, and we've seen this side, the negative. My thing is just this, you know, if you one of those guys that has a particular fetish or taste for that type of women, you know, that's cool. But it's definitely not something that I personally can understand. And I think that if you're a guy and you're a virgin or you're desperate, in my opinion, in my view, and you don't have to listen to me because I'm Mr. 31-year-old virgin here, but I would always suggest just don't do it. Don't lower your standards to the point of fucking fat, sloppy moon face. Moon face. Don't, or you might, because you don't want to be this guy. Look at that Ryan Gosling face. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want those feels. You don't want those memories. And look, I just grabbed like 10 posts. Like that thread was full of posts where guys were talking about the same shit, bro. Like just that the misery and the regret and the disgust of having sex with a woman that fat, the smells that you'll never forget. I mean, again, you really got, it's something you really gotta, take into consideration. But just, if you gotta have sex, man, just do your best to try to find somebody that you are at least somewhat attracted to. She ain't gotta be bad. She ain't gotta be the prettiest girl. But it definitely shouldn't be like this. Like, like you're doing the wrong thing. You're acting out of sheer desperation. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. And I'm not trying to be mean to I know there are a lot of fat, overweight women and men out there, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. But the fact is, being overweight is just, it not only makes you less attractive, you're not going to be as healthy and you're not going to be as comfortable in your own skin. Even myself, I notice, like, even if I gain a little weight, the level of discomfort that I feel is crazy to me. And I can only, like, I look at huge people and it's like, how do they live? How do they deal with that? Like, if I get a little bit of a love handle, right, or a little bit of extra fat on my arm, like, I feel it, I notice it, and I don't like it, And so I don't even understand how they deal, how they cope with shit like that. And I think too, there is kind of like this double standard where it seems like men are expected to settle for fat women more than women are ever expected to settle for fat men. And that's why I have to be kind of harsh about this, because I feel like as men, there is always that perspective or that idea, like, if you're fat, you don't even deserve to start dating. You shouldn't even be thinking about dating. Lose the weight. But women don't seem to get that same sort of, they don't get that same energy. It's like men are so often told to just settle for that and just accept that. But when we're fat, we gotta lose the weight. Like, it's a must, right? And I get a lot of that just comes down to the imbalance of the dating market and things like that. But in general, if you're a fat motherfucker, get your ass up, run some laps, and clean up your diet. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you on the next. So, Johnny.